Hello. So glad you're here. So glad you found your way through the internet to this spot because I've been super excited all week to talk to you about what's going on in the news this week. This was one of those weeks where the news dropped right at the beginning of the week. And I was like, I can't wait to talk to you about this once we get the chance to hang out and I get to kind of recap what's happening in the week. It's been an interesting week in the news. It's been crazy for me, so I haven't had a ton of time to prep, but I am going to do my best to give you all the news that happened this week, and I give you a little hint. It's all about AI this week. I know that may come as a shock. Everybody's talking about AI, but I think Oregon has something special when it comes to AI. It's not just one of those, if you were around in the .com days or the generation that followed after, every single community was like,
we're going to build the next Silicon Valley.
No, you're not. You're not going to build the next Silicon Valley because it took 7 generations to build Silicon Valley. You're not just going to suddenly build the next Silicon Valley just because you have a few startups in your region. So while what I describe may feel a little bit like that, I want you to understand, and I will try and reflect, that Oregon has a ton of infrastructure and investment and engagement around many facets of what makes AI work, how people are learning about machine learning and AI and all those things, and obviously the hardware and processing power to make AI run. So I'm a little more bullish on Oregon making claims that it could develop a center of AI excellence around here. And some of the stories that came out this week are lending credence to that hypothesis. So first and foremost, biggest story, of course, I teased it a couple times and I almost got exactly what I wanted. Almost. The Oregon AI Accelerator, the inaugural cohort, has been announced. I would like to share each of the 20 companies that were selected for the cohort. And of course, you're like, well, what didn't work out? What did that seems to be what you described? Well, yeah. I was kind of hoping they'd all be from Oregon. And they're not. I think there's one from Vancouver, Washington, which neighbors to the north, good friends, part of our community. So it's almost like they're all from Oregon, but almost, but not quite. Okay. So what I would like to do is share the names and locations that each of the startups going through the Oregon AI Accelerator, where they came from, what they're building. I might not give you a lot of detail on what they're building. I may save that because I want to save that for their demo day when they get to tell you what they're building, but I'll at least tell you the names and locations of the startups that were selected for the Oregon AI Accelerator. Okay, in alphabetical order, Accent Innovations out of Beaverton, Aho Wellness Tech out of Portland, Alerty out of Corvallis, Akaya out of Portland, Align ICP out of Portland. I talked about Align ICP a while ago, and I'm just juvenile and immature, so every time I say ICP, I giggle. Sorry, that's just how it is. Allegory Studios out of Portland, Caravel Bio out of Portland, Decisio Media out of Portland, Decky out of Portland, Device Flow out of Portland, and here we go. Our friend from across the river, Doc Cron out of Vancouver, Washington, Dr. Notes out of Portland, Friday Outdoors out of Hillsboro. Friday was a Pi alum, so full disclosure, we had the opportunity to work with Friday Outdoors way back in the day. So it's nice to see them in another cohort. Hindsight VIP out of Boardman, so Eastern Oregon. Menu Mingle out of Portland. Nav Surgical out of Portland. Plentiful AI out of Portland. Pour Up, Pour Up, out of Beaverton. RS Works out of Portland, and StarStack out of Portland. So those are the 20 companies. They've already started. The cohort members have been posting on social about how great it's been even in the first week, and the peer-to-peer kind of support and just the collegial collaboration of the Oregon AI Accelerator and how they're all getting along already. So I will continue to stay tuned to what's going on in the Oregon AI Accelerator. Demo Day is a ways off, as it often is for accelerators. It's about 3 months away. It, of course, will happen during Portland Startup Week. And that will be the opportunity for all of these companies to share their stories with you. So I don't want to do any big review. I mean, if you really, really want to know, it's on the blog. You can go read about what they're doing. But I'm really happy to see this cohort be announced. Really happy to see a bunch, all local companies in the cohort, as I had hoped, even though they did an international call and received hundreds of applications. They wound up to select a bunch of companies locally. So that's really great. And I look forward to seeing how these companies improve, mature, accelerate as they go through this program. The other big AI story that dropped really, really early in the week is AJ Green, who I remember talking to long, long ago. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to try and do some stuff with AI around Portland. And he's really become this flashpoint for a lot of really, really interesting AI activity. And he's gotten a lot of really good contacts in the industry. And what he would like to do, what he's proposing, is he'd like to bring all those folks to Portland. So, he's talking about companies like Lovable and Vercel and Anthropic and others that he has the potential to bring to our community, which is great because I've always thought there would be a really interesting opportunity for kind of a vibe code camp kind of thing that could happen here. So he's definitely thinking along those lines. Right now, he's just kind of putting out this public service announcement that he's looking for people to collaborate with him. And he put this out on LinkedIn. I think it's super interesting. I think Portland is hungry for more kind of like big destination events like the Silicon Forest Tech Summit that's coming up in March. But this could be another one of those big events that really draws a bunch of people from outside of the region to Portland. As Michael Richardson and I had a conversation about quite some time ago, he thinks we sometimes undervalue the fact that, back in the day, Portland had a bunch of national conferences that occurred here. Because of that, people would come visit Portland, they would fall in love with Portland, and then they would move here and become part of our community. And so figuring out these destination events for the AI era, like what AJ is describing, could be a very compelling way of getting our community more enmeshed with the broader AI startup community or AI technology community. So I'm pretty bullish on this concept. I know he has a ton of good contacts, and he's helped form the AI Collective, which is a global organization that helps AI startups get in front of investors and get mentorship and all that kind of thing. So he brings a lot of cachet. It's not just somebody going, hey, I think we should do this thing. It's like he has receipts and he has the ability to do this kind of thing. And I have a lot of faith in the fact that he will be able to do this thing. So if that's of interest to you, I will link up the LinkedIn post where AJ shared this. And I suggest you reach out to him if you would like to help, if you have some ideas, if you have other groups that you're connected to that might benefit from being part of this kind of destination event around AI and vibe coding and that kind of thing. Please reach out to AJ. And then more AI. This week, I didn't have a ton of time to write about stuff. Didn't get a ton of posts up. I put a bunch of link roundups up because everybody was publishing good stuff. Portland Business Journal put out 2 great stories. What I love about a publication like Portland Business Journal is the journalists have the time to do these lengthy think pieces where they can dive deep into a concept. One of those this week, and I'm again going to read because I want to highlight everybody that's mentioned. The Portland Business Journal did a story on how Oregon is positioning itself as an AI hub. And so they go through, like, it's not just people using AI, it's the chips that are powering AI, it's the people who are teaching about AI, it's the infrastructure and community engagement that will help people understand, embrace, and build better AI. So some of the people mentioned in the article, Skip Newberry of the Technology Association of Oregon says a few words. We have some stuff about the Oregon AI Accelerator, of course, the role of academia. They talked to Roy Haggerty at OSU, Oregon State University, which, if I'm remembering correctly, has one of the largest AI faculties, if not the largest in the, at least the United States, if not the world. And they happen to have, master's degree and then doctorate in AI as well, which is kind of unique. So they've really staffed up for this AI moment. They may have kind of seen it coming, given that Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of NVIDIA, is an alum. That may have given them some clue that this was coming, but Oregon State has really staffed up for this moment and are really prepared to help educate the next generation of people who are going to be working in AI. There's, John Harkness talking about the business case for AI and the potential for it there. And then, of course, I'm a huge fan of Megan Notarte and Nicole Moores, who run AI Portland. They're featured in the article as well. I think it's also important to call out that AI Portland, amazing community, really good momentum, tons of great events, really good programming. I also want to shout out, Portland AI Engineers, which is, if you're deep in the weeds on the technical stuff of AI, they're a great group. AI Portland is broad, welcoming anybody from the deep in the weeds to the AI curious. Portland AI Engineers, very deep on the technical side. And then I just saw, they've been going in fits and starts, but there's a broader meetup, organization called AI Tinkerers that has various chapters in various cities. Portland has a chapter, and I've seen AI Tinkerers Portland is starting to spin up more events as well. So if you're looking to get involved in the AI community, those are the best places for you to get engaged. If you're not sure where to start, AI Portland. If you're deep in the engineering and machine learning and natural language processing and all of that fun stuff, Portland AI Engineers may be a good spot for you to start. And then if you've been dabbling, making stuff and tinkering around with the AI, then obviously AI Tinkerers is the spot for you. So again, I think this is behind a paywall, but if you have the opportunity to read it, really great, just like in-depth look at Oregon, the infrastructure we have in place, from the chips to the software, to the education, to the community, to the people doing stuff. So I don't know. Even objectively, Oregon sounds pretty cool. Like if I'm not being as subjective as I usually am, if I read this objectively, I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, I buy your argument about that AI stuff. And then speaking of Skip Newberry at TAO, he also wrote up a piece, kind of like a opinion piece on opportunities for Oregon's economy in a future full of AI, and talks more about like the tech side of things and the infrastructure. Skip provides as an example a story of Waterloo in Canada, where they were the home of RIM, which was the maker of BlackBerry, and he kind of describes like through BlackBerry's demise, the community really figured out ways to kind of reinvigorate the community because of all the talent and all these things that were at their disposal because of BlackBerry. And, it's just a really good comparable for what we could be doing by taking the assets and resources and people and talent and all the things that we have and really reinvigorating our community around AI. So again, it's in the Portland Business Journal. I would just subscribe to the Portland Business Journal. They really do a good job and they really write amazing articles all the time. I'm a huge fan. I love a lot of their content and I read it every single day. Basically, I just wanted to let you know that there's some really good energy and thinking and momentum around AI in the state of Oregon. Portland Business Journal has done a great job of covering it, and I hope that you can read those pieces, but on the off chance that you can't, I just wanted to let you know so you had that info. So in summary, big AI week in the news in Oregon, lots of things happening, lots of ways to engage. If you're even remotely interested in AI, I highly encourage you to reach out to some of those communities that I talked about. And if you're just interested in seeing what people are building, stay tuned for the Oregon AI Accelerator Demo Day. Okay. My voice almost didn't make it through that whole thing. Yeah, secrets. This is the point in time where, it's just you and me. Like everybody else is gone. They heard AI for the 500th time and they kind of bailed. But it was an exciting week. I felt like I couldn't keep up with it this week. Sometimes this is just a hobby. YouTube is a hobby. Blogging is a hobby. Sometimes the day job gets in the way of the hobby, and I don't get to spend as much time on my hobby as I would like to. So, yeah, but super exciting stuff. Great to see all of those other people in the community getting highlighted by the Portland Business Journal. That's really nice to see. There are a lot of people doing a lot of work in the community, and to see them recognized was amazing. And to, as I said, objectively, people are putting together a pretty good argument for the potential that Oregon has in the world of AI, which I was honestly concerned about. I felt like we kind of missed the beginnings of AI, and Portland and Oregon are usually really, really early to new technology, and we just didn't happen to catch that wave this time, but we're definitely catching up or leapfrogging. So that fills me with hope and optimism about what's going on. Me this week, I have the chance to meet with so many amazing people, founders and people who've been in the community, and thoughtful folks who are doing incredible things. And I just wanted to take a second to say thank you to all those folks who, for whatever reason, are willing to carve out time to hang out with me and chat with me. I feel very, very privileged and lucky to have the opportunity to chat with folks, founders carving out time, busy people finding time to spend a few minutes, and also the people who reach out to find out more about the community and really just trying to figure out their way to find their spot in the community, that they look to me as a potential resource in helping them get there. I'm always privileged and thankful for that stuff. And I wrote about it. I think I wrote about it on the Portland Startup Slack, but it was really funny. I was early for a meeting, so I was sitting there working, and there were a couple people behind me at the coffee shop, and they were talking, and I couldn't really hear what was going on. I had my headphones in, but they walked over to me, kind of tapped me on the shoulder, and hey, are you Rick Turoczy? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, well, we're on the Portland Startup Slack, and we're getting engaged in the startup community. And I was like, oh, cool. That's crazy. That and I was in an atypical spot, I guess you would say. It wasn't like I was sitting in Umbria, or it wasn't like I was, right in the midst of the startup community. But yeah, that was just nice and random, and glad that the Portland Startup Slack is working for folks. So yeah, this was a rough week, but it also had some really great things happen. It was just a lot of work, this week. A lot of things going on. I'm super excited about this AI stuff. I hope you are too. It feels like the energy and momentum is coming back, and I remain hopeful that it actually is, and that you benefit from that. That we all benefit from that. That our community benefits from that, because we deserve it. So, yeah, AI this week, and yeah, lots of stuff. So, hope you're holding up. Hope you're hanging in there. If you choose to watch the Super Bowl, I hope the team you root for wins. And if they don't, well, I'm sorry. There's always next year, right? So hang in there. And until we get the chance to chat again, please keep up the good work.